Hello. So today we are going to talk about Jamboard. So if you go to your waffle, Jamboard was just recently activated. Thank you, Jason, for all of us. So if you go down here and click on Jamboard, it does um, work with Google. So what you will do is you'll want to create a new jam. So you'll go down here to this plus sign to create a jam. So, what's really cool about Jamboard is that it is an interactive whiteboard that happens in real time. So, your kids can all have the link to your jam and be grabbing sticky notes, virtually coloring, whatever sticky note that they wanted and adding to any discussion. Aubrey thinks this is fun. Save. And it will post to the Jamboard. So all your kids could be adding their thoughts and opinions about anything and everything. They can add images, or you can add images. There's different colors and styluses up here. You can also set a background. That way, kids don't manipulate everything. So if you had, like, if you're working with money and you had, different something on the screen that you would not want to change slide to slide, that could stay as a background, and then they would only be able to manipulate the things that they would add or that you would have there for them to manipulate, if that makes sense. What I love about it is it's very basic. I can name my jam training, but we could all add to this Jamboard and put our thoughts on here, which I think could be really, really neat. The other piece that I think is very underutilized is you could have students create things and create their own Jamboards for assignments and things like that. It's just basically, rather than using, a Google Doc or something like that. But I just love how clean it is. There's not a ton of options for kids, like there would be using Google Slides or PowerPoint, where there's all these overwhelming buttons at the top. It's just very basic. The options that they have are all right here along the left side. But I wanted to show off a couple of Jamboards that I have that I thought that you guys might be interested in. And so I kind of picked a few for different age levels. So this Jamboard are like magnetic letters that you would use in a classroom, but using them in another way. So I can link these in, or if you want access to them. But basically, what you would do if you ever come across a Jamboard that someone else has created, if you're on Teacher Pay Teacher or something like that, you would just click on these three dots, the snowman up here in the corner, and you would make a copy, similar to how you would do with a Google Doc, to be able to manipulate these. But students can just add a page up here to be able to spell out words. So like at a kindergarten, early kindergarten, first grade level, this might be a jam that you might be interested in. Another one that I liked, this is picture of the day. So students, you're asking them, this could be activity, they come into in the morning, where they're looking at the picture, what do they notice? What do we think is happening? And you have them write it down in the jam. So here's another one about just like neat infographics that get the discussion going about whatever you might be teaching later in the day. Here's one that would obviously work well for math that I thought was neat. Here's one about animals that's a little bit more basic, but you get the idea. Lots of different, here's a blank one where you could kind of create whatever you wanted. But you guys get the idea of what I'm going after there, where students could even come up with their own picture of the day. And then this one is one that like would be student created. So you would give them this template of including their name, their famous person's name. So it'd be their job to add the text to this slide. And then they've set these things as the background so that students cannot, if you see my cursor, I can because I'm in editing access, but you could set this to a background where students would not be able to manipulate like the directions. They could only add to the template. So where did your famous person live? Where was their place of birth? Why were they important? And then this could turn into like a writing piece eventually. So pivotal moment in their life, their accomplishments, etc. So I'm also going to include in the dashboard, if you scroll down to the tech tip of Jamboard, I'm also going to include this website from Lucky Little Learners, where she gives a lot more resources and things that she has done with Jamboard. There is a whole YouTube video in here about using Jamboard to create those interactive assignments that we talked about. And a lot more just tips and templates within this website as well that I will link in for you to use. But again, if you are in Drive, you're just going to go to that waffle, and now you know that it is part of Google, and you can find it right here. So if you have any more questions about Jamboard, please let me know. But you can find a lot online. And once, maybe we could create just a huge drive of templates that we've all used before. But I really love Jamboard just for its simplicity, and I hope that you will too.